I will just preface it with I'm not an expert. Which you're like, why are you teaching? I'm not sure. No, I'm just kidding. And by the way, this is not part of my attire, this microphone. We're trying something new. We're going to try to record this, and obviously this will pick up the audio way better, so when we put it on YouTube for people that couldn't be here, that's why the fancy furry microphone. So anyway, so back when I was doing marketing for the chamber, one of the things that as soon as we took over tourism, one of the first things that we did was we became a visitor center. And so we're recognized by the state as being a visitor center. And so that combined with the chamber, Brooke and I started realizing that our online presence was just not strong enough. And so I started doing research. And the bummer about technology is it's constantly changing. So that's why I can't say I'm an expert. And so for those of you that have those tech jobs in those companies, you understand that once you learn something and then 3 months down the road, it's changing. And so it's really hard to stay on top of it. So I'm going to give you the best that I can at least getting you started. And then from there, we're all going to have to learn together. I'm happy to answer questions even after this. I have my business card here. So if you're running into something, you're more than welcome to reach out to me. I may not know the answer, but maybe we can figure it out together. I'm not prideful enough to say I have all the answers. I try to pretend like I do sometimes. But so anyway, these are just a series of things that I have learned over the last probably 6 months that have really kind of just been huge in my face, like, wow, this is so important. And then as tourism director now, I'm starting to realize that some of our businesses that would attract tourism and tourists aren't found online. And so that's really important. And so all I can do is say, let me give you the tools to help you, because I can only do so much, right? I can't create your online presence. You have to do that. So that's why your business profiles matter more than ever. And gone are the days of having the Rolodex with the business cards and you go door to door and you hand out. There's some value in that, sure. But online, if your presence isn't online, then you're hurting yourself. And a lot of these tools are free, so you don't even have to spend money. So that's great for our small businesses. So why your online presence matters. So let me ask you this. When any of you go on a trip or go somewhere that you're not familiar with, what is the one tool that you use if you're trying to find somewhere to eat?
Google Maps.
Google Maps? Your phone, right? You don't look in a phone book anymore, do you? I don't even know where you can find a phone book hardly anymore. So people search differently today. The biggest thing that is changing in today's world is AI. Whether you like it or whether you don't, it is here. And if you have a smartphone, you use it way more than you realize, so you're just going to have to get past that. That doesn't mean you have to have a paid AI account, but you are using it anytime you use your phone. And that's unfortunate. But so AI, the trick is that AI pulls information from multiple sources. So if you have a Google business profile, that's great, but guess what? It's not enough, because AI doesn't just pull from there. And inaccurate listings, they cost you your business. And then we're going to talk about that. So we're going to do a quick little activity. So I want you to pull out your phones. And I want you to, how many of you have iPhones? Okay. Those of you that have iPhones, do you use Apple Maps? Okay. How many of you use Google Maps? Okay. All right. And then how many of you have Android phones? Okay. You're either diehard Android or diehard iPhone. I'm an iPhone user. I have a Mac. I'm an Apple. It's my son's fault. It's all his fault. It's okay. I use Apple Maps. So I want you to pull out whatever map app you use, and I want you to search ice cream near me. And I already tried this, so we're going to see how it... Oh, we're going to have some background music while we do our search, too. All right, tell me some of the results that are at the top of the list.
Crispy, crunchy chicken.
Okay,
Promise you, that's what.
that's very odd, but okay. What else? Stoplight, was that at the top?
Yep.
Good.
I got P. Do's gourmet ice cream.
You got PWs, that's what I got. Guess where that is? Rock Hill. Seriously?
Yeah.
What else?
PJs.
PJs? PJs, that's all the way in Richburg.
Yep.
So, don't even know where that is. Not in Chester County.
Nope.
Palmetto Snow, Chester.
Okay, yep, there is 2 locations, one in Great Falls, one in Chester. Okay, anybody else get any different?
I got a Nova Donuts Cafe.
Okay, I didn't realize they had ice cream, but that's Chester. Okay, so you can see, but guess where some of the places that didn't pop up? Cotton Hills.
I got it on mine.
Well, here's the thing. Here's why all the searches are different. Because it's based on your search history. It's based on your patterns. It probably knows that you're related to Cotton Hills. It's based on your Google settings or your map settings. So all over the board, right, we get different answers. So that's a problem, especially if it's pointing people to places outside of our county. So as the tourism director, I have that problem that I'm trying to fix. So most businesses, this is just a side note, most businesses don't disappear from search because Google doesn't like them. They disappear because their information is incomplete or outdated. So that's something to just tuck away for, so you can say, I'm gonna start a Google business profile, but if you don't keep it updated and refreshed, it's gonna go away. It's not gonna keep populating into the search, okay? All right, so that was just a little test, just to help. All right, so we're gonna start with your Google business profile. That's the most obvious, it's the most common, right? So this is the Chambers Google business profile, and it goes beyond that. This was for the sake of the presentation, that was about all I could fit. So you can see that we have the address, the phone number, our hours, which, okay, that's a problem. It says that we're closed right now. Don't know why. But when you pull down that menu, the hours say that they're correct. So I need to fix that. So see, I'm not an expert. I just did this last night too. So, but if you click on it, you can do website, you can get directions, you can look at reviews, you can save it, share it, call. And I forgot to, when you have a Google business profile, it will give you like a monthly analytics report of how many people looked at your business profile and how many calls you got from your business profile, which is a really great tool to have. So your Google business profile, it's basically just your business's free listing on Google that helps customers find you in Google search and in Google Maps. Why it matters? Because you show up in searches, right? It's what customers see. So obviously, if my pictures are bad or outdated or my information is messed up, that's what they're gonna see. If there's no phone number for people to contact me, if there's no address, if there's no other information, customers see that, right? You can find out your hours, which again, oh, I know why. Because I took a screenshot of this last night. We were closed last night. Okay, sorry. Just to, it's fine. I'll blame it on I was sick over the weekend and I'm not fully recovered. That's my, that's my excuse. First impressions matter, right? So one of the things that we're not going to focus on today is how to set up your business profile. But before you leave, I am going to give you a sheet with websites that give you some of those tips. Because it's not hard to claim your business profile. So when you go and you Google search, if you go to the right, there's usually an option that says claim this business or do you own this business? And then Google's gonna take you through a verification process. Whatever email you use to verify, you need to make sure that you check it often and that it is a valid email address, okay? That's really important. And when Brooke had claimed the Google business profile, but then we changed permissions because it was linked to a different email. It was super easy and quick for me to go in and adjust the admin email that it was connected to. And then I was able to update it. Those pictures are new. I just added some new pictures last week. And then you can see I even added the Lunch and Learn. So I added some current things. And I even have a monthly reminder on my calendar to go in and update our Google Business Profile. Because that, again, is super important that you keep it updated. If you don't ever, even if you're like, well, this is the same picture that I have. Okay, well, just do it anyways. Delete the old one and put up a new one, even if it's the same one, because to them, it means you updated it, right? That's all they want, all right? But you can't stop at Google. So as I said, AI and search engines pull from multiple sources. So you have your Google, and then you have your Apple. So here's an example. I was in a business downtown Chester just a couple weeks ago, and I asked her, I said, do you have your Google Business Profile? And she said, yes. I pulled out my iPhone, I use Apple Maps, and I searched for her. She did not exist in my Maps app. And it's because she doesn't have Apple Business account. It's free. So I made sure I told her. She was panicking, and I was like, it's okay. You have a Google Business Profile. That's great. But you need to not stop there. Okay? Apple is the next one. These are not in order of importance necessarily. Bing is another one. Bing, you can connect to your Google Business Profile. And it will, when you claim it, it will even ask you, do you want to connect this to your Google Business Profile? And you can. And once you connect it, when you update Google, your Bing is automatically updated. So it's a 2-for-1, super easy. Yelp, a lot of people think that's restaurants only. It's not. But AI uses Yelp to pull from when you're searching. And then guess what? If you are a chamber member, it will pull from your chamber directory. So our directory has all of you that are members. It has all of your information in there. And a lot of times when someone searches for that, we actually get phone calls for a lot of chamber members because they're trying to get a hold of you, and they call us. And so then we're like, oh, guess what? Let me give you the phone number, because we have your information, and that's what it pulled from. And then if you have a website, and how many of you have a website? Okay, about half. That's about what I would expect. Websites, I get, are pricey. It's okay if you don't have a website, but if you do have a website, you need to make sure that your information across all platforms is the same. That is super, super crucial. So you can't have one phone number on Google, one phone number on Apple, one phone number on the chamber directory, and one phone number on your website. They need to be consistent, because AI and the search engines detect that. And then when they detect it, it pulls the inconsistencies and it doesn't put it at the top. Okay? So always check the name, the business name. So if you are using different punctuation, different spelling, different spacing for Facebook, website, Google, you need to be consistent. That's really important. And you might think, oh, it's just a comma here or a space there. It's very important. Your address, and we're going to talk about businesses like yours, Butch, that you don't necessarily have a actual brick and mortar. Phone, and then again, if you have a website, and then your hours. So be consistent everywhere. So Butch has a service. You provide a service. So you don't have a brick and mortar store. Right. Yeah. So for places like that, you can create a service area business profile. And you can hide, and you probably already know this, but for anyone else that maybe you guys don't have a brick and mortar either. So you can hide your home address on your business profiles. That's okay. And you can define the areas that you serve. So you service not just Chester, you service lots of the surrounding areas, and you can put that in your, and that would be true for you probably too, Tom and Daryl even probably, right? So you can put in those parameters parameters of the areas that you service, and then just be consistent. And then also is making sure that you pick the correct categories. So don't just pick random categories because you think that everybody wants that category. Pick the categories that really define who you are. So if you are a gift shop and you're not a visitor center, don't put visitor center just because you want visitors. You see what I'm saying? Like, we can put visitor center because we are a true visitor center. So you need to make sure that you pick accurate and correct categories. One other thing that's really important for any type of business is capturing reviews. That is another top one that AI and the search engines pull from. So, Butch, I know you collect reviews and I see you post them on Facebook. That's great. Make sure that you're also inviting people to put them into those different platforms, Bing, Yelp, Google. My husband and I were on our way home from Texas on Friday, and we stopped at the Whataburger in Columbia, and the waitress was super nice, and she came out and she was like, "Do you guys like cookies?" And we're like, "Yeah." And she said, "If I give you a cookie, would you give me a good review?" And I was like, she's like, "I'm not supposed to do that." And I was like, "Okay, do you want me to put that in the review?" But and it was a contest for their employees, but I went into Google Maps and I put in the review for that specific thing. So guess what that does for that business? It puts them at the top, right? So the more reviews, so if you are any kind of business, offer an incentive, offer a prize, like, 10 people that give us a positive review, we're gonna pick one of those people for a $10 gift card, or you know what I mean? Just make it fun if you want. Obviously, you want to recruit the good reviews, not the bad reviews. That's the bummer, is that you can't remove a bad review. So the only way to push it down is to get more good reviews. So if you guys could go onto Google Business and give the chamber some good reviews, that would be really helpful. AI sometimes gets it right, and sometimes they don't. So I want to show you something. And so, like, unfortunately, the part of the problem is that somebody like Butch's business, there's a ton of people in that same service industry. But then you have specific names like the Blue Cottage or Orlando Minetta Mills History Center. There's probably nothing else that's even remotely called that, right? But electrical services, so you have a little bit of a harder job, unfortunately, to get himself, so the name, like, that also matters. It's not because somebody named anything wrong. Your name is indicative of what you do. That's important. So all right, so I just did, now look, this is Bing, because this is Microsoft, right? So I did lodging in Chester County, all right? So the first thing that pops up is a sponsored ad. I hate this, but they're paying money so that their name or their website gets pushed to the top, okay? You can do that, but if you don't have the money, then you're out of luck, right? So let's just scroll down a little bit, and then you'll see another one. It's popular, Vrbo, Kayak, Priceline, and then all the way down here, look what we have. There's our friends, right there. But then guess what else? None of the other hotels in Chester or lodging options popped up. They're the only one that popped up. But we have multiple hotels, Airbnbs, and none of them popped up, right? So that's a problem. It's good. It is for you, yes. That's so great. All right, now look. Here's just another example. I put in Chester County Chamber of Commerce. Do you want to know how many phone calls we get? People think that we're Pennsylvania?
Yes.
Probably once a week, at least once every 2 weeks. And we'll even get calls where, they're like giving their whole spiel before we can even stop and be like, hold up. I know you're not talking about South Carolina. I got a call, it was a couple weeks ago, well, more than a couple weeks ago, and they went on and on about the Clydesdale Parade and for St. Patrick's Day, and I was like, it's not South Carolina. There's no, and I was like, I'm sorry. I just need to interrupt you. Did you think that this was Pennsylvania? Is this not Pennsylvania? No, it's not. So even though I search all the time things in Chester County, it will still take me to Pennsylvania. But you can see that these are some of the, like obviously ours is at the top, but look, it's all over the place. There's Pennsylvania, Chester County, and we get tagged in social stuff all the time. And I'll be like, hey, you tagged the wrong chamber. You might want to give them credit. Great job, by the way, whatever you did. And so then our website pops up, right? So there it is. So we have pretty good results. And then there's our Facebook page. And a lot of it is because we're active, right? I mean, we post how many times a day? 3, 4, a lot. We post a lot. You don't have to post that much. We just have a lot of members that we're trying to spread the love and share all the things. All right, now one other thing. So this is Microsoft Copilot. So I just put in, I went to Google, said find ice cream near me. This popped up. Take a look. You've got 3 great local options. And I said Chester, South Carolina, PJ Soft Serve, Stoplight, and Palmetto Snow. That's great. But look at the map. It's taking me to New Jersey. I'm not going up there. So PJ's was like the only one. And so a lot of people rely on information and it may not be accurate. So it's frustrating because we may not be able to fix all of the issues, but the things that we talked about today will go a long way in helping fix when people are searching for a gift shop or electrical services. So it's not a fail-safe. And again, we're learning too, because it's always changing. And there's more and more AI platforms that are out there. And so I'm constantly saying, okay, how do I fix this? How do I fix this? And which AI do I use? And we have paid accounts that we're using at the chamber. And so we hope that we have good information, but it's not always accurate even then. And I've even asked it from a tourism standpoint, what is there to do in Chester County? It took me to Rock Hill. And I was like, come on, we have to fix this. So one of the things that we had an issue of, so you can see this is our building, so that's accurate. And the address, even though it's 109 Gadsden Street, which that's the front street, it was putting the pin behind. And we finally, what was it? That it was because we kept, like, you can adjust the pin, by the way. If you see that the pin is wrong, you can suggest an edit. So that was the first thing that we did. And then for a couple days, some of us were driving to the front because it was detecting that we were always going to the back. Wow. Freaky, right? Because we all park in the back, which is back here. But we don't want people to come in the back door because that's scary when someone bangs on the back door and we don't know who's there. We want you to come in the front. So like even this, like he's not there anymore. That was Buddy, if remember his place burned down. So he's now on Saluda, but it's still listed there. So that's another thing that you need to check is how, like what is that pin? If you have a physical location, check it. Because a lot of people will go to that and it will be wrong. I've gone in before, the Nitro Lee access area in Great Falls used to be wrong and I fixed it. It was taking me to someone's house. And I was like, I know that's wrong. So Britt and I, he was the first tourism director, we got on there and we did some research and I was like, well, here it is. So I suggested an edit and it fixed it. So it's kind of almost too easy to fix it. But you can, down at the bottom, when you pull it up, it says suggest an edit. Obviously you don't want to go editing your neighbor's location pins, but you could tell them like, hey, I know that your place is not here anymore. It's very helpful. So AI is constantly at work, and that is unfortunate for all of us in so many ways because it's almost impossible to stay on top of. But some of the things that we talked about today If you can be consistent across all these platforms, it will go a long way in helping you get more found and more noticed. And even the consistent Facebook posts or Instagram posts or TikTok posts, those show up in Google searches or whatever search engine you use if you're consistent. If you're only posting once a month and then you're like, why is no one seeing it? It's called algorithms. The more you post, and you probably see most of your feeds, if you're on social, are full of ads and crazy stuff. But the more you post and the more consistent you are, that algorithm pushes your stuff to the top. But if you're only posting once a month, then your stuff doesn't, unless somebody's specifically going to your page, it doesn't really get pushed. Also, even if you're like, I don't know what to post, even asking people questions. Sometimes we ask people questions on the chamber and it's crickets and we get no response. But we can tell that hundreds of people saw it. But then there's other things that we don't think will get very much traction and it's like thousands and we're like, what the, okay, great, boosted our numbers. But people love real photos. And I will say that too. Using AI to create flyers and things is really helpful, but they don't get the traction that you might want. Real pictures is the way to go. And we still use Canva, we still use AI to create things because it is helpful for spreading information, but real pictures are the way to go. When we just promoted, I just promoted, this was a couple weeks ago, Flop Eye Fish Festival on the tourism page. They had a flyer, but I had pictures from the year before. It got thousands and thousands and thousands of views. I posted the flyer, it was like 5. Because people like real life photos, because they can see themselves there shopping, or if you have a store, ask somebody like, hey, can I take a picture of while you're shopping? I do that all the time when I'm like going into a place for tourism. I'm like, ooh, can I take your picture while you're, And then sometimes they say no, and I'm like, okay. So, anyway. Okay,